Blessings, fam. Another quick video I wanted to do. And yes, for those of you who didn't know, Omicron Eta, Spring 89. Showing my age for real now, right? And yes, African Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So I'm going to talk about this real quick and then, we can move on. I put on my sweater because I'm a little chilly and I'll leave it out, right? But this sweater was a gift from a Kappa. I dated a Kappa many years ago. I was actually engaged to a Kappa, one of many engagements. And he gave me this sweater as a gift. And, it's really cool. Let me show y'all the back. I think the back is kind of on point. But it's a beautiful sweater. I always cherish it. So I have a soror who, when I tell you this sister, she is just like a piece of my heart. Like, that's my girl. That she is the reason why I pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I came from a house full of boys, and sisterhood was a thing for me, right? So, like I said, I don't like catty women. I don't like shady women. So there are some sorors who are Caribbean American who make it a point to act like they are different or better than African Americans. And, for me, I come from both, right? My dad is Bajan. My mom's people are Gullah from the Carolinas. So when I hear West Indians talking about Americans, I just kind of shake my head and try to reason with them. When I hear Americans talking about Caribbeans, shake my head and I reason with them. Because what both parties don't seem to understand is that a lot of their thought process is colonization. It's from Westerners. One is not better than the other. Like, we are all the same. Our circumstances are different. Our experiences are different, but we are the same. So my point, before I'm a soror, I am a 100% black woman. Okay? So in saying that, you already know what it is. And I'm going to leave it at that. I am black before I'm a soror, before I am so-called a Greek, because I think people misunderstand that as well. I don't see Greeks as, European people. I know that my people are the originators, so it don't matter to me. When I pledged, it was because I was on a campus with primarily European people. And we needed a sisterhood collectively that we thought would do things in the community that affected us. We experienced racism at my college. At least I did. There's people who fit in just fine and they act like things weren't happening. But I was aware of it and I was always very sensitive to it. So me going to Africa is not new, right? Me living an African lifestyle. You look at my carvings around my house, it's not new. It's always been here. Okay? And all of this is part of who I am. So I don't have to deny any part of me to still say that I'm African first. Okay? So in saying that, I'm going to move on to what this video is really about. This video is about me thanking my subscribers, people from various groups that I belong to. You all have taken me on a path that I didn't expect to be on, quite honestly. In planning to go to the continent, I've ended up teaching Poshmark classes. In fact, we just had our first Poshmark orientation. Not just Poshmark, but online selling classes, right? Because many of us just don't have a clue. We think it's a lot more difficult than it is. So I did my first orientation. We had 5 people. It was amazing. I did not expect that. It started with 2 people who encouraged me. You really need to do this. If you do it, we'll take your class. Next thing I know, we have 5. And I'm on them because I want them to be able to use their funds to get back to the continent as well. The other thing was there'll be another class because I have people calling me after that class that they missed. So I'll have a class this weekend. I'm just waiting to confirm the time. If you're interested, put your information uh, in the chat below, and I'll respond to you directly and give you the information you need. But we're going to have another class this weekend. The cost of the class is $50, and we go for as long as you guys need to go until your questions are answered, right? So I look forward to that. And as a final part of this video, I tried to do a video in Ghana, and I lost like 9 videos because the internet was kind of off. I was moving around different places. Okay, I'm getting warm, so I got to come out of this now. So I was in Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Accra. So my videos, I had some difficulty loading videos at times, depending on where I was located. So I lost about 9 videos. So I was going back to my notes, and it was something that I missed. One of the videos that I lost talked about additional expenses, and I don't remember whether I touched that or not. So I just want to give you that information real quick. We talked about at the airline, if you guys remember, I ended up paying an additional funds when I missed my flight. So you got to be prepared in case you miss your flight because it's possible. And that could cost you like an additional $400 if you miss a flight, right? So plan for that like emergency fund in case something happens. Emergency fund in case you have to dash somebody. And when you have to dash somebody, it's like, oh, you can't get me in to this test, or you can't get me into this line. Like, you better have that extra money to give you that money to put you ahead so you can do what you need to do. Like, that's a reality on the continent. Okay. The next thing was parking. When you go places like the airport, or a driver is waiting for you, or a driver takes you someplace, it is the right thing to reimburse that driver for his fuel and for his gas, right? For his fuel, which is gas, as well as parking. So if he has to park someplace in a lot or something, the driver should not be paying for that. You should. Also, I went someplace, the guest house in Kumasi. The chief was kind enough to let us have his Jeep at our disposal. So the only thing he asked was like, you put gas in the Jeep. You using it. You going all over the place with it. Put gas in the Jeep. I was like, no problem. So I filled up the tank. We drove out to Lake Botswami, I think it was called. We went out to the lake, and the kids was dancing with them on. That was the Jeep that Chief let us just take. He provided a driver. So now I got to hit the driver off. I got to put fuel in the vehicle. Again, additional funds. And y'all know every time we went somewhere, in Ghana, mostly, we used a driver because we learning our way around. And it was just easier a lot of times to get from place to place with someone who knew where to take us, right? So be prepared to pay your driver. That's extra money that you're probably not including in your budget as you're planning your trip, okay? The other thing is food, right? Your meals. You're going to want to try different things. You may want to buy fruit. Like, there'll be so many different things for you to eat and to try. So you want to have money for that. Buying snacks. People coming up to the vehicles selling water. Some rest stops that you go to, you have to pay to use the bathroom. It's not a lot, but they request that you pay, and that's probably how they pay the employees with the money that's made from that, right? And you will see people begging. So you may want to give a tip to a baby that comes up to the window, or an elder that comes up to the window asking for change. Like, I think you can tell a difference between someone who might be a substance abuser versus someone who's really in need. Okay. I did the snacks, bottles of water. When we went to the lake, right, a brother offered to give us a tour. He don't work at the lake, but he offered to give us a tour. So you know what that means. We got to pay the tour guide. So I ended up not only paying the tour guide, giving him some change, but then they was talking about they was planting trees around the lake to stop the lake from kind of just, I think there's something going on with the dissipation and some other stuff. I forget, but the lake is shrinking. So they planted trees around the lake to support, I guess, it coming, like the roots will draw the water or something. So they wanted, donation for planting trees. I wasn't interested in doing that because my thing is that's your choice to do that, okay? But if I'm giving you, you gave me valuable information, then I need to compensate you. And I don't know if that video also I lost, I think, with the brother because he was talking and I can't find that one. And he was educating us about the spiritual piece on the lake, and I had all of that on video, but that was one of the ones that I lost. Then we also had, when we left there, we went to Paradise Resort, and that's one where you see me talking about the other side of the lake. That place, we ordered chips and a kebab. Of course, they bought the wrong kind of kebab, but Ahmad ate it anyway. That was additional money, 12 CDs that I didn't plan on spending. So you will find yourself, even though you don't mean to buy stuff, you be picking up little snacks here. You might want some, snacks as in street food. You will find yourself buying. Um, we went to a museum. Again, people be like pushing their ways on you and you don't catch it sometime after. But we were saying to the driver we wanted to go to the lake. He's like, "Oh, have you been to the Asante Museum? Have you been to the Asante Museum?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know that I thought of going to a museum. I wanted to go to a craft place." But no, he wanted us to go to this, what we would call Asante Museum, because that's where his tribe was from. And that's fine, but we didn't necessarily have that on our plan. So we went, they had a cool little video. Y'all saw me do the footage. I was talking about the tree and some of the Adinkra symbols and the peacocks and stuff. That's how we ended up there. It was the driver that kind of pushed that. And he was a relative. I think he was the brother-in-law of the chief from Kumasi. So, of course, we ended up paying to get into the museum, right? And it was cool. Gave us a nice tour, talked about the history, the golden stool, all that kind of stuff. Um, then I wanted some black soap and some shea butter, and we couldn't find it, like just locally. So he ended up taking us to a spiritual market. But we get to the spiritual market, and he's walking us through the whole freaking market when all we wanted was some black soap. And that's because he wanted to walk us to a friend of his. So we get to his friend. His friend doesn't have what I want, but he did have some neem branches, some chew sticks, and we wanted to start doing the chew sticks in case we got sick. So he had a huge bag of the chew sticks like that. I was like, I don't need all that. I just need one or two. So the brother was kind enough to just give us the chew sticks, and I didn't have any small change to give him. And he was fine. He just gave it to us. But, you have to watch because people will do things like that, try to walk you to people that they know, which is cool because I've referred folks to people that I know that sell certain things, We want to support each other. If we saying buy black, that's what we do. Right? But at least take me someplace where I'm going to get what I asked for, not what you want me to have. Okay. So, spiritual market, chew sticks. So I bought black soap and I ended up buying shea butter. And the woman at the shea butter stand, I told her she had them in blocks, like squares. And she was like 3 for 10 CD or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, give me like 20 CD worth. So instead of her giving me the blocks that she already had cut, she was going to cut me like a slim piece. And I'm like, why are you giving me that when I asked for that? And she's like, oh, well, when you want more, we just cut it. I'm like, yeah, but you giving me that is less than you giving me the cubes. No, I'll show you. So then, of course, she grabs the cubes and she gives me the slice. And when she weighs it, the cubes weigh more. So I'm like, can I have the cubes? So, I ended up getting that. But it's just when you're spending your money, you don't realize how much you're spending. You want to get your value worth and be aware because all those little things add up. The driver, the fuel, the parking, the little knickknacks you might be picking up. Like, and I didn't even talk about souvenirs. Like, I know some of y'all are going to shop. That wasn't my intention. I did buy some necklaces and maybe one or two outfits, but my logic was if I'm coming back, I don't need to buy all of this stuff. I don't need to purchase like that. So be prepared for all of those little things you're going to be doing. What happens when you meet up with friends and you go out to a club or you go to have lunch or you go to dinner? Um, Or if you're with someone, you may end up treating them as well. So think about all those things that you will need extra money for. Like we didn't even talk about like doing laundry. And what if you get sick and you need medication, right? I know I went looking for bug spray because I forgot to pack my repellent that I had. Um, I ran out of leave-in conditioner for my hair, so I had to find some place, and it wasn't inexpensive. Like there are places selling prices that are comparable to the States. So little things like that, be prepared. Just be prepared because you don't know what kind of little things you will run into. Also, don't forget that every time you take your money out the cash machine, that's a fee. Fee for the conversion, fee for the service on both ends, right? Additional funds. So I did videos before where I kept saying, I hope y'all are hearing the cha-ching every time I list an expense. Be aware of that, right? Um, and then wherever you're staying, like I didn't even talk about housing, right? Housing and uh, different things like that. If you're paying per night or if you've paid monthly, uh, taxes that might be unexpected at the airport, your COVID test, like it all adds up. It adds up. It does. So just be aware. Okay. So this video have a little bit of everything in it, right? I talk about my feelings about just community, right? Sisterhood. And see, I got my girl gang shirt on today. I love this shirt. I think it's very cool. I got a couple compliments on it. Let me see if y'all can see it. Can you see my shirt? Yeah, I loved it because the braids were so detailed, and that's why I got it. I just thought it was really cool. So we talked about sisterhood, talked about, expenses and things to be prepared for and to try to account for when you make your trip. Blessings.